everyone, it's me, Traveler Lily, here back with another book review here on my channel. I know I haven't done one in a while, so yeah. Now I'm starting to regret keeping most of my room in the dark. Hang on for a second. Okay, much better. Guys, I thought this was a good idea when I put my room in the dark just to show myself, but now I see that was a bad idea. Anywho, I'm back with another book review, as I was saying, here on my channel, since, as I was saying before I decided to turn on the light, I haven't done one in a while, and I decided finally I would talk about Pendragon by DJ McHale. It's book 1, The Merchant of Death, in his Pendragon series, in DJ McHale's Pendragon series. There are 10 books, I believe, in all, in the series, and it is a middle grade, novel series or whatever. I read this back when I was in 4th or 5th grade. It was right around the time where everyone was getting into the Percy Jackson series and all that. And this was around the time I think a lot of us were starting to read the first few books of Harry Potter and seeing the movies for the first time and stuff. So yeah, I don't know why. I just, for whatever reason, never got into the Percy Jackson series. No, hang on. Let me reword that. What I meant to say is that I just never read the Percy Jackson series. I don't know why. I never did read that series or read his other works before. I just don't know why. I just never was interested in reading, Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson series for whatever reason. Like, I have nothing against the series or anything like that, whatsoever. Like, I've heard such amazing things about, Rick Riordan's work and everything, so I've, nothing really against it and stuff, so it's just my own personal experience. I just never really got into the Percy Jackson series and, Rick Riordan's other series like everyone else is, and I don't know, I feel like the staple for middle grade that I've heard a lot on BookTube and stuff is the Percy Jackson series and stuff. That's just, I think, the staple series of middle grade. That or Harry Potter. Potter is the staple, I think, quote-unquote, middle/high school staple series of that age group. So yeah, and I feel like one of the series that goes unnoticed is the Pendragon series by DJ McHale. I loved this series when I was a kid, and I still love it now. I remember listening to all 10 of DJ McHale's books on my iPod back in elementary/middle school. Like I said, back when everyone was reading the Percy Jackson series and was fangirling over it and all that. So, yeah, I remember listening to all 10 books, and I remember I really enjoyed the series, so I got book 1 of his series, Pendragon, the Merchant of Death. So, yeah. To start off, I'm going to read you the summary of what the first book is about, so you kind of get the idea of what this series might be about. If you've never read it before, or you might have heard it before, maybe, I don't know. But, yeah, here is the summary to the first book. Bobby Pendragon is a seemingly normal 14-year-old boy, but there is something very special about Bobby. He is going to save the world, and not just Earth as we know it. Bobby is swept off to an alternate dimension known as Pendragon, a territory ruled by a magical tyrant and plagued by dangerous revolution. If Bobby wants to see his family again, he's going to have to accept his role as savior because he is about to discover Pendragon is only the beginning. So, yeah, that is the summary of the book. And sorry if there's that glare behind like my head or on my head, like on my hairband or whatever. That's my fan light on the my ceiling fan light, and stuff. So I'm sure it's like really bright and is giving off a glare off my head. So sorry if my head's partly shining. That's just the fan light. So yeah. Anywho, yeah. I have a lot of things to say about this book. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be wondering, why haven't you read the Percy Jackson series? It's such a good series, and all that, you know. I mean, like I said before, it's a really good series. It's one of the series that I hear a lot of people talk about on the channels. And is one of the more popular book series that people have talked about, other than like Cassandra Clare's works, Harry Potter, The Raven Cycle, The Lunar Chronicles, etc. On the channel. And I feel like Pendragon is one of those books, or one of those series, that I feel like doesn't get a lot of mention or credit or anything like that, just because a lot of people tend to talk about the more popular books rather than the lesser known books, I think, in my opinion. And I feel like more people need to talk about those, just because I feel like a lot of people have already read like Harry Potter, The Lunar Chronicles, the Percy Jackson series, etc. And I know a lot of people want to hear more about books they haven't heard about before, or haven't read before, or haven't done yet, or anything. And I feel like Pendragon is one of those books that people definitely need to read and hear about. So, Bobby is a 14-year-old boy at the beginning of this series, when he first starts his journey with his uncle Press. And he kind of one day just is uprooted from his home with his uncle, and his uncle ends up taking him to this abandoned subway station, to where Bobby is very confused on what's going on, because Uncle Bobby is kind of distant. He doesn't really come over to visit the family often or anything. And at first, Bobby doesn't know where Uncle Press is taking him or anything like that, and he just kind of wonders what's going on, and he's so confused obviously throughout this entire book, because he has no idea what's going on. He, didn't really believe that there were other territories or other, worlds out there, obviously. And I just like this book for opening the idea of alternate dimensions, alternate realities, and stuff, and what different worlds could be out there and all that. So yeah, Bobby is a seemingly normal teenager who, of course, like any other boy, wants, to do normal teenage boy things, like date girls or date guys, or whatever your, sexual, preferences, and, yeah, I believe it's I think I remember, it was the day he kisses his crush, Courtney, his crush, Courtney, who likes him, and he has a best friend named Mark, who basically are his closest friends. And so basically what happens, like I said, Bobby up and disappears with Uncle Press to Pendragon, where Bobby discovers that he is one of the few people that can save these different territories, and basically save all these different worlds, along with a few other people from different worlds, from this evil guy named from Saint Dane, who is out to basically, quote unquote, reshape the entire universe, as I guess, in his own image. And so basically, what goes on within the entire series, it kind of focuses on Bobby sending back these letters or documents or records or whatever back to Courtney and Mike, to explain what happens. Oh, excuse me, I burped. And while Mark and Courtney are trying to figure out what's going on, because Bobby's house and family have entirely disappeared. It's no longer there. It's oddly disappeared. They don't know what's going on with it. And so, yeah, they're trying to figure out what happened to Bobby and why he's disappeared with his Uncle Press. And so basically, later on within the series, Mark and Courtney become Bobby's acolytes, which are kind of people who help the people who come from other territories who might not know the customs or cultures or whatever of that other territory, and they help supply them with clothing to help them blend in more within that territory and stuff. And so yeah, basically throughout book 1, Bobby is to help Uncle Press and a few other people fight Saint Dane off of Dendron. And Dendron is basically I think a middle-aged village and town and all that, because they're knights and all that. It doesn't really have that much modern technology. So yeah, so the characters, basically our main characters throughout the entire book obviously are Mark, Bobby, and Courtney, and of course the few other characters that we get throughout the series as well. But it's mostly Mark, Bobby, and Courtney, because those are, I guess you could say, our 3 main characters. And of course Courtney is Bobby's love interest. So, yeah, the characters I think overall are great, because each one of them, I definitely love how each one of them go through their own personal character development, and how you get to see that throughout the 10 books that you do get to see them in, because it does kind of switch back and forth between perspective and all that, from when Bobby is describing in his letters of where he is and everything, and you get to see from Bobby's perspective of sorts while he's on that territory of what's happening to him, and then you get to see what also happens to Mark and Courtney while they're on Earth 2. And by the way, Earth 2 is one of 3 Earths, because there's Earth 1, which takes place where the Hindenburg crashed. Earth 2 is where Mark and Courtney and Bobby are from, so that's basically our present day, early 2000s or whatever, you know. And then Earth 3 is several hundred years into the future, so where we have futuristic looking technology and all that. So basically on Earth 2, Mark and Courtney are reading the letters and trying to figure out what's happening with Bobby, and trying to make sure Earth 2 is safe. So anyway, the plotline I just love so much, because you get to see how each character is developed and how each one of them kind of struggles with their own personal development and all that. And I just love that throughout the entire series, because you get to see how each one of them grows and personally changes, and how each one of them interacts with each other and all that, compared to some of the earlier books and all that. And I just love that so much. And I think from what I remember from Mark's plotline, I just love, because he kind of as you learn within the series, he kind of gets picked on in school, because Mark is kind of a nerd. He's kind of a nerdy kid, you know, he's kind of quiet and all that. And you kind of get to see him personally change and grow up, I think, probably the most. You do get to see Courtney develop and change and all that throughout the series as well, and of course Bobby. But I think the two characters I think mostly grow that you get to see throughout the series is Mark and Bobby. And I just love Mark's development overall because he's been bullied a lot, obviously, and he has to do with all this and everything. And he kind of was the first one to discover the parchment paper with what happened to Bobby. And so I just love how later in the series, if you haven't read it, how Mark kind of has to do with, I think from what I remember, he has to kind of deal with him being good or bad. Like, he kind of has to deal with these conflicting emotions and all that, and it's really hard to see him struggle, with him being good or bad, because he kind of debates whether or not he's good, whether or not he's bad, and what his actions should be, and it is so heartbreaking, because you can see so much development from Mark. But he definitely redeems himself, like, I think in little books as well, because, like, you get to see this shy, quiet, bullied kid who was scared to do anything from the beginning of the series just grow so much as a character, and I just love that. And yeah, and I just love how the fact that Courtney just goes along with it after Mark, after a while, convinces her that Bobby has disappeared and everything, and that it takes her a while to finally believe it, rather than just be one of those characters that just says, oh, yeah, okay, I believe it. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to help you. But then later on, like, helps them reluctantly or whatever. I mean, at first, don't get me wrong, Courtney reluctantly kind of has to listen to what he says and like, reads the paper and everything. And all that. But, but I just love how Courtney and Mark's relationship just grows, and how Courtney and Mark become better friends than they were before throughout the series. And I just love how Courtney and Bobby's relationship also develops, even though Bobby is constantly going off to these different territories to save everyone and stuff. But, like, he does come back through to Earth 2 late in the series and everything, so you do get to see him with Mark and Courtney, and how that has changed with all three of them and everything and stuff, and I just love that, I just love the characters and the plot. And I also love Saint Dane as a character too. Like, oh my gosh, literally, Saint Dane as a character is awesome. I'm not gonna really spoil what happens with Saint Dane or anything like that, because I don't want to ruin it. I mean, I already spoiled enough for you guys with this video here and what I've already said. So, yeah, Saint Dane, I just gotta say, I just loved him as a character. Like, he's kind of the villain, looking back on it. He's kind of the villain that you love to hate. But in my personal opinion, he's the villain you love to hate. But, you learn throughout the series, he's just a terrible person. He's just a terrible, terrible person throughout the series. Because, he's trying to destroy everything and everyone that gets in his way. And it's just, yeah. And so, I just love the entire series, and I highly recommend to anyone to pick up Pendragon by DJ McHale, and give it a read, and just, see what you think of it, because I feel like this is one of the series that gets so underrated by so many people, and I feel like not enough people know about it just because it gets overshadowed by a lot of other popular books and all that, and I just feel like a lot of people should know about it more compared to, the Lunar Chronicles and the Raven Cycle and, Hey Pot. I mean, we already hear enough about those series, in my general opinion. And I just feel like we need to hear more about series like the Pendragon series, you know, because it gets annoying after a while, sorry to say, of people talking about the Lunar Chronicles and the Raven Cycle and all these other books that are really popular, that I feel like we need to also give time to tell people more about these other books that we haven't really heard about or anything like that, and just my general thoughts about that. So, about that. And I feel like, personally, if getting off topic here, obviously, though we need to hear more about books like this. So, yeah. So that's just my thoughts of the series. And, well, book one of this series. But, anywho, yeah, that's just my personal thoughts of why we need more books like Pendragon series to be talked about more, and what my thoughts are on Pendragon series overall. And I just feel like, you know, you should definitely give Pendragon a read, and give it a chance. And, you know, yeah. So I guess I'll see everyone in the next video, I guess. And I will hopefully be up with part 2 of the bookshelf tour very soon. I recorded and uploaded part 1 of the bookshelf tour up on my channel already yesterday. You can go check that out. I will leave it either in the description below or in the iCard box above for you guys to check it out. The iCard is most likely going to be the beginning of the video, so check that out. Or you can find it in my bookshelf tour playlist on my channel and stuff. And feel free to check out my other content as well. Feel free to check out my tags, my book recommendations, all that. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend, you know. And yeah, and don't forget to click the little bell icon for notifications. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have had a lovely weekend, and hope you guys have a lovely upcoming week. So yeah, guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.